What's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to the 5 Seconds on the Clock podcast with the one, the only, Brandon Williams. And today's topic will be, should college athletes be able to get paid? So let's jump right into it. Should college athletes be able to get paid? I think yes. I'm going to tell you why. But first, a bill has been proposed in California that would allow student athletes to get paid. It's called Senate Bill 206 and is proposed by Democratic Senator Nancy Skinner. Some key points in the bill are it would allow student athletes to sell the rights to their name, image, or likeness. It will also forbid intercollegiate sports organizations from penalizing student athletes or the colleges they attend if they struck a deal or hired an agent or lawyer to help them negotiate. Now, California was the first state on board, but since then, some other states have joined. And now I'm going to read an article by ESPN staff writer Dan Murphy. And it states, a state senator from Brooklyn is aiming to make New York the first state to require colleges to pay student athletes directly. Senator Kevin Parker proposed a bill earlier this week that would give college athletes the ability to sell the rights to their own names, images, and likenesses. Parker told ESPN on Wednesday that he has since added an amendment that will require college athletic departments to give a 15% share of annual revenue to student athletes. The revenue, Parker said, will be divided equally among all student athletes who compete for the school. It's about equity, Parker said. These young people are adding their skill, talent, and labor to these universities. You don't need the shortcuts and the end arounds because now we're providing some real support for these student athletes. Parker said he modeled his initial proposal after California's Fair Pay to Play Act, which passed the state's Assembly and Senate with unanimous votes earlier this month. The California bill would make it illegal for colleges in that state to take away an athlete's scholarship or eligibility as punishment for accepting endorsement money. California Governor Gavin Newsom will decide sometime in the next month whether to sign the bill into law. Nancy Skinner, the state senator who wrote California's bill, said she hoped that other states would adopt similar policies. Politicians in South Carolina, Maryland, Colorado, Washington, and now New York have all discussed creating laws to change the way college athletes are compensated. Mark Walker, a U.S. congressman from North Carolina, has proposed changing federal laws to create a similar effect nationwide. So after reading that and hearing all these other former collegiate athletes in support of college athletes getting paid, I think we headed in the right direction. It's just a step. I don't know exactly how they would compensate the players, but at least we're having that conversation and going in the right direction. In college sports, especially basketball and football, they generate billions in revenue every year. And the players, the people who actually are on the field, on the court, etc., they don't get a dime for the hard work, performance, hours they put in. But the NCAA and these universities get all the money that they make. And then there's former college athletes like Tim Tebow, who isn't in favor of players getting paid. He thinks it'll take away from the amateurism and joy of the game. It'll turn into like the NFL, who can outbid each other and pay players the most. Says it'll take away from the real things that matter and the reasons fans, friends, and families love the game. But I think when he says it'll turn into the NFL, he's kind of off with that take. But in Bill 206, it's not like they're actually going to be able to offer players contracts or anything like that. They're just making money off their own name and likeness. I mean, that should be allowed. Because when fans buy a jersey, although the jerseys only have the number, they don't have the player's name on the back. You obviously know who that jersey is attached to. You know what player represents. I mean, as years go by, of course, players are going to repeat wearing the same number. So you can wear the same jersey and represent a different player, every year. But still, in that time you bought that jersey, you know you were buying that to represent that particular player. So what's the difference? They should be able to make money off of that. You making money off of selling my jersey? I can't get anything? Not a small percentage? I can't get anything? That's just not right, and that's something that needs to change. After hearing Tim Tebow's take on why he thinks players should not be paid, several current players, NFL, NBA, retired, stuff like that, they spoken out, and a majority of them sound like they disagree with what Tim had to say. They pointed out that they could have used the money to feed themselves, help their families when they were in school. Others pointed out, this is a great point. Other people have pointed out that a small percentage of student athletes actually go pro. So having that opportunity to make the money off their likeness, their name, would have benefited them while they were in college and even beyond. Because most people won't get the opportunity to play at the next level. You know what percentage of student athletes go pro? Fewer than 2%. Under 2% of student athletes go pro. So that shows you the small percentage. And when you think about it, you're like, wow, that's a low number. Think about how many schools are out there. Think about how many have athletics, how many players are on each team. And then think about how many professional leagues there are. And then think about how many players are in each of those leagues. It doesn't really compare to how many collegiate athletes there are, right? So they definitely could have used that money while they were in school. Yeah, sure, they get a scholarship, but a lot of them still go hungry. A lot of them are broke. And a lot of the players, especially in basketball, they're one and done. 1 year, they're gone. They're going to the league. Why? Because they know they can set their family up for generations. Even if the players are compensated, it won't be millions of dollars. Each player is not going to be getting millions of dollars and won't be able to impact their family like that. But still, nonetheless, it could help them. It help them pay for school, help their families pay for school, stuff like that. These players need to be compensated some way, somehow. And I remember in 2017, there was a player on the UCF football team, and he got kicked off because he was making money off of YouTube videos. The problem wasn't that he was making money. It was because he did not separate his non-athletic content from his athletic content. So basically, the NCAA was saying you can't benefit off of your athletic reputation, but we can. So the bottom line is pay these players. I don't know how you're going to do it, but it needs to happen. Get it done. The NCAA and these universities are benefiting. They are being paid off of these players. Let these players get paid off of their athletic reputation. Because at the end of the day, these players have been building their athletic reputation basically their whole lives. The NCAA and these universities weren't there when they were young, putting in these hours, taking them to their athletic events. But when they get on campus, they're like, okay, now we own you. Whatever you do athletically, the time you're here in college, whatever you do, we're going to benefit off that. We're going to give you these nice facilities. We're going to give you these nice nutritional food options. You get to play in front of hundreds of thousands of people every weekend. But still, if you need money to go get something from the corner store, you're hungry, we can't provide that for you. Your coach can't provide that for you. But we're still going to take the money that you make us sacrificing your body every weekend. That's all for today. A very controversial, but I believe very critical conversation to have. And I think California is headed in the right direction. I could talk about this all day, but I'm not. I'm interested to see how you guys feel. After listening to this, go under the post, comment, tell me how you feel. Should they get paid? Should they not? If you have any suggestions or ways they should go about doing it, let me know. But thank you for tuning in 3 episodes through, and I feel like I'm learning something each time, really enjoying the process. If there's anything you guys think I should talk about, comment under any post or message me directly. Episode 3 was a blast. I'll be back next week. Signing off for the 5 Seconds on the Clock podcast, I'm Brandon Williams. See you guys next week. You dig.